Well, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now, today on the table in front of us, we've got two new knives to the channel, and reasonably new knives in the world. These are both off-grid knives. So I recently did a review for the off-grid Viper, and the only reason I don't have it on the table today is I have sent it off to another channel to get reviewed. I loved it. I thought it was tough and kind of cool, and I loved the materials. That would happen to be K110. So I reached out to Off-Grid and said, hey, I would love to review some of your additional knives, and of course put them in the hands of other reviewers as well. Off-Grid was kind enough to send me two knives to look at. That's what's on the table today. One of these has already been captured by Women Carry Knives. She absolutely loves one of these. She likes them both, but loves one of them. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's start with the one that she did not take away. This is the Off-Grid Knives Rhino. And I love this knife. Yes, I do. Comes in a very nice box, as you can see. Now, what do you get? Well, you get really nicely done G10. You get excellent action. You get a D2 blade running on ceramic bearings. And I love, I'll say it again, I love this knife. It is comfortable. It is attractive in a tactical sort of way. You guys know that I have a number of these sort of blacked out kind of tactical knives. This one is gorgeous, and they're between about 55 and about 70 bucks depending on where you get them. These are available on Amazon right now, I think at $53, and I gotta tell you, this is a great knife at that price. It's a great knife at 70. It really is. The action is so good. It's a liner lock. It has steel liners, which are milled a little. Unfortunately, my lighting doesn't allow for you guys to see that. It has a fantastic deep carry pocket clip. Now, on the Rhino here, these actually have the rounded style screws. When we get to the Badger, which I'll show you in a second, well, those are flat top screws in the pocket clip, which is a really nice feature. This one is dead centered. Again, the action is superb. It is a high flat grind, although not completely at the top, but it is up here. And it comes down to, while not a razor blade, a very beautiful and slicey edge. It has jimping right where you'd want it on this nice rounded, so it doesn't stab anything in your pocket, flipper tab, and right here where your thumb touches down. It is very comfortable to come forward on for draw cuts and for finer work. I have used this already to chop up a whole bunch of cardboard. I sliced up some rope just to see what you were getting into. And it is a hot spot free, at least for my hand, easy carry, really nicely done knife. I'm telling you, Off-Grid is a company that is worth your attention. Now, of course, when they sent this to me, I told them I'm going to do a straight review on this. If there's anything wrong with it, I'm going to talk about it. If I don't love it, I'm going to talk about it. But that has not been an issue, and that's cool. So let's take a look at what you get size-wise and in dimensions, shall we? All right. The blade on this really excellent knife is 1, 2, 3, just under 3.5 inches of cutting on just over 3.5 inches of D2. The grip area from behind that flipper tab is 1, 2, 3, 4 to this outside edge, 3.5 to this first swell. It is hand filling, right? And the way they've done this, even though it does push my fingers in a little bit, it feels really locked in place. I mean, this thing is a good handful. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a quarter, a little over 8 1/4 inches long. The blade stock on this bad boy 3.5 millimeters. 3.5 millimeters. Which is why when you come down this nice tall blade, you end up with a very slicey edge. Now it does thicken up a little tiny bit, but not much towards the tip. It does have a nice strong tip. So if you need to do anything argumentative with it, you're in a good position. It is comfortable in the hammer grip for push cuts. Again, I'm really into this knife. Let's go ahead and do the thickness on the handle there before I lose track of all things. It is 0.54 inches, so just a little tiny bit over a ½ inch through the handle. At its thickest, right here at the swell, it is 1.2 inches. Closed, at the thickest point right here, it's 1.6 inches, so just a little over 1.5 inches. It does fill up the pocket widthwise a little bit. I want to get that out there. I don't, I have zero complaints. I mean, I want to do, and I want to be ethical, and I want to have my reviews, especially when the company is nice enough to send me stuff. I'm not due them anything. I want to be straight, and so far, in the time that I have had this knife, it has given me zero complaints. This is a really well-made, thoughtfully executed knife. I just love this thing. I really do. So let's take a look at its smaller brother. This is the Badger EDC, and it has also a reasonably nice box, not quite as nice as the Rhino. Excuse me. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, let's weigh the Rhino. All right. The Rhino comes in at 6.6 ounces. It is a hefty handful. And look, I love that. You guys know that's not an issue for me. So, all right. Now let's take a look at the Badger. Now, the Badger is a smaller knife. It does come in a nice box. It is held in nicely. It doesn't go anywhere. And again, the logoing isn't too bad on the boxes. I think it's very attractive. It's a nice kit. So let's take a look at what you get. Whereas the Rhino is kind of a big boy, the Badger has a very similar blade shape, a little more belly, because it's shorter. But it is a much more compact knife, as you can see. But don't for a minute think that means it's not still a good handful. While my pinky does come to the very end of this handle, because of the way this is shaped, I get a fantastic grip on this knife. I really do. This is also D2. This is glass reinforced nylon instead of G10. Put this back instead of G10. The pocket clip, as you can see, has nice flat top screws on it. Good spring, just enough ramp to fit comfortably in the pocket. This one is open construction, right, where the Rhino has a G10 backspacer. It is lighter, but has virtually all, a little bit less blade, but virtually all the same cutting capacity as its larger brother. This is a neat little knife. Now, ours did come a little bit off-center, but here's an interesting little bit of fact. I gave this pivot a little tiny tweak, and it's centered right up, and didn't get so tight that the action is still not spectacular. It's not quite as drop shut as the Rhino, but look, this is a great knife. It is also on ceramic ball bearings, much like its larger brother here. Oh, I moved the mat. I hate when I do that. There we go. Like its larger brother here. The fit and finish on this knife are as good. This knife is everything this one is, just a little smaller. And because of the way they've done the FRN here, the GFN here, excuse me, it's got good grip without being, painful in the pocket or painful in the hand. It's just enough to hold on to in a really nice way. This is also steel liners. This one is not milled out. The pocket clip on both of these is, oh, excuse me, I stand corrected. The pocket clip on the Rhino is right hand, tip up only. On the Badger Blackout, it is ambidextrous, which is a really nice touch. And it is 3 screws that hold it in place. It is not going anywhere. I mean, you guys can see why Women Carry Knives fell for this thing. It is a little, for me at least, little good slicer tank. And she totally fell for it. Let's go ahead and get the blade stock and stuff out of the way while we're sitting here looking at it before I do the length. All right, the handle comes in at 0.52. The blade stock is 3.6 millimeters. The blade length is 1, 2, just at 3 inches of cutting and a little tiny smidge over 3 inches in overall length. The grip area from just behind that flipper tab is 1, 2, 3.5 full inches. So for most people, this is going to be a mid-size or normal size knife. You guys know I just got big old hands, right? So these are just exceptional knives. I really like both of them. You know, the Badger here is about 5.5 ounces, so you're looking at about an ounce less than its larger brother. I keep a running tally of, a running list, I should say, of knives that I recommend in all price ranges. You know, you want to spend $400, I got you covered. You want to spend $200, I got you covered. You want to spend below $100 or below, I got you covered. These two have immediately jumped into those knives that I would recommend for somebody who's looking to spend less than $100. They're very, very good. They really are. I've had moderate opportunity to cut and test with both of these. You know, like I said, cardboard, some rope. I even had some old seatbelt that I sliced. Both of these work beautifully. These are going off now to a couple of other channels, but they're coming back to me. And when they come back to me, I'm going to give them a much longer term test. First off, I'll see how they handle being in the hands of a couple of other reviewers. And then they'll come back to me and I will take them out and use them for yard work and the gardening that I do and for outdoor stuff. And be able to come back and tell you guys more about them individually. But for now, these are the off-grid knives that Off-Grid was nice enough to send along for review. The large one is the Rhino Blackout. The smaller one is the Badger Blackout. Both are D2. This one is GFN. This one is G10. They're both running on ceramic bearings, and I love both these little knives. Really do. I hope you guys take an opportunity to check them out. I think they are worth your time. These are available on Amazon or at the Off-Grid Knives website. They are an American company. They're having their knives made elsewhere, but that is to keep them in a price range that allows us to get them in our little hands, or big hands, as the case may be. Anyway, I hope you guys check out Off-Grid Knives. I am super impressed with these, and of course the Viper, which will return to the channel here in a little while, I'm also very, very impressed with. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the Off-Grid stuff or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. We'll see you next time.